completely different thing from this is, is this the first indication we have of how long these guys have been friends? And like, so did they meet? They were, 10, 12, and now they're mid 30s.
That sounds about right.
They've been friends for 33 years.
I know we find out earlier in the movie that they were at the Quick Stop for like 10 years. So we said that earlier in the movie, and that jumps us to now. So I'm guessing, that makes sense. Like middle school friends. I mean, that sounds right. I mean, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I mean, that makes sense timeline wise.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
That sounds right.
That's crazy.
Long time.
I mean, I actually do have a friend still from like that age, around like 9th grade. Like that, I do have a friend like that now. But still, it's rare and far between for you to be in your 30s and still have friends that old.
Yeah, that's a long time, and it's, man, to try to forget those 33 years ever happened. Ouch, Dante. Ouch.
It hurts saying it out loud. It really did hurt. So then Randall had enough because now he's hurting. That one burned him, and you can see it in his face. And I've been commenting on this all movie. When it comes to facial reactions, he's the best. Jeff Anderson is the best. He is one of the very best in this movie. That's not like Rosario Dawson is a professional.
Yeah. Well, and they're really, Kevin's really asking them to act here. It's one thing to be, kind of a slacker 20-something and just pretend to be a slacker 20-something working at a convenience store. Like, that's not a huge stretch. But here, going back to what we said about the emotion and the honesty of the scene, like, they're really, I'm assuming these guys aren't real friends that have been friends for 33 years, and now they're going through what is essentially a breakup, or seems to be heading towards a breakup. Like this is acting. This is, Meryl Streep type stuff. And they both do a great job. But Jeff Anderson really kind of shows the stuff, and it's kind of, I'm sorry to hear. Apparently he's the holdup on Clerks 3. That he's not interested in coming back, because seeing like the range that he shows the growth in this movie. He does a lot more as an actor, as an artist, versus what he did in the first Clerks. And it'd be interesting to see where he is now.
Well, we had Scott Holden on in a previous episode, and we asked him because he would know, because he hosts the That Man on Fat Man podcast, and he interviews a lot of people. He'd actually interviewed Kevin Smith on his show, and I went and said, well, what do you know? Where is Jeff Anderson? Like, where is he? Because you would know. He goes and says, oh, no, he doesn't do interviews. He doesn't do cons. He made money doing real estate. And he's rich. He doesn't need to do any of this. And he just won't do it. He doesn't want to. He made money. I can't blame him. If that's the case, and he made himself independently wealthy, I can't blame him. More power to him. Yeah, so that's what happened to him.
All right. So anyway, we kind of got off track. So Dante's dropped his 33-year bomb, and now Randall's coming back at him with, I thought you were the guy who would take a bullet for me.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, that actually says a lot, because I don't have many people. I don't have many friends in my life at all. Really, I kind of keep myself minimal friends as it is. But like, there's very few people, and like one of them would be like my wife, like that I would legitimately take a bullet for. So that's a rough sentence, because it's like, if you're willing to do that for somebody, that means you really love them.
Yeah, and he's not talking. I mean, I guess in a certain respect, it is metaphorical, but I think he's also talking literal. Like, I mean, I've got friends and coworkers and acquaintances that I would do stuff for, I would do favors for. But if we're talking about a literal bullet, it's a very small. I got, my wife, my sister, my nieces and nephews. I've got my old Central Jersey buddy, my friend, my longest friend that I've known since 2nd grade. And that's about it. Probably about 10 people that I honestly say, like, I would lay down my life for theirs.
Yeah, for me, it would be like the people in this house, which is what, like, Kyle, like 6 people in this house right here. And then I have who's my wife still. Then I have my best friend here and my best friend in Jersey. So, like, that's not about it. It's not a very big list.
Yeah, and I imagine for Randall feels that way for, Dante, and that's probably the list in terms of who would Randall take a bullet for. it's Dante, and who does he think Dante would take a bullet for? Well, he thought it was
him.
At least, he thought it was Randall, and now he's learning maybe not.
So
maybe not.
He did assume he felt the same way, and all of a sudden, I love this logic here because it makes me question. Because I wondered this earlier in the movie: when did Dante land this whole I'm moving thing? Because it sounds like it came out of nowhere. Right here in this sentence, because he says, all of a sudden you're moving by. And does that mean it was one of those things where, I guess I'm actually moving and I'm not telling you? Weird. One would think that Randall would know this actually, but maybe he didn't know that that Dante was just going to drop everything and move to Florida until recently?
Yeah, I can see. I mean, Randall would have known that Dante was dating, and probably they would have talked and would know that she had family down in Florida. But also I could see Randall as the kind of guy who procrastinates on breaking bad news. So, when I was going to say when they made the decision, but when Emma told Dante that he was moving to Florida, he probably didn't tell Randall right away. He was like, well, Randall's going to be upset. He's going to try to talk me out of it. Let me wait till the plans are made and it's too late to change my mind, and then I'll tell him. So, I mean, I don't think it was earlier this same day. It wasn't that immediate, I'm assuming. But, yeah, I imagine from Randall's perspective, it probably was pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. So Randall makes a point. Do you know what that's been like for me? I'm looking at a future that just sucks because you're not going to be in it anymore. Oh, wow.
Aww.
That makes me want to hug him. It makes me give him a hug.
Yeah.
And he says, you're not even throwing me away for a life that means something to you. It's just a stupid, hollow existence you think you should have had because you're getting old or something. Because it's the kind of life everyone else has, everyone else goes after. You're a fucking drone, dude. Laying everything on the table. Laying everything on the table now.
Yep.
Well, he's not wrong.
Well, I had a question about that. That's good. So do you, and we've seen some from Dante that he's kind of not as happy as maybe he should be about this move, but it's a big change. I could see, just being worried about it just from that perspective. But, is Dante just doing this because he thinks that, this may be the last girlfriend I ever have, so I better lock it down so before I spend the rest of my life alone? Is he just doing it because he thinks, he's just too old to be single and too old to be a clerk?
It looks like to me, it's one of those things where he found someone that loves him and he thinks that's what he needs.
Yeah.
And he's settling.
Well, not to mention the fact that if he still remembers what happened the last time he had a
serious relationship.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is also different. This is different than the first time. To the point where it's like, she actually, is saying, well, we'll get married, we'll move. And he's looking at this like, okay, I get everything I want. Maybe I'm not fully in love with her, but I can still get everything that I want in my life. And then I'll figure it out later. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it is, Yeah,
I mean, and in terms of, Randall's level of expectation and kind of, what Randall has described as what he wants out of life in terms of just being a clerk and being able to make fun of people and hang out with his friends, that's kind of sounds like the life that Dante is setting up for himself. Working at a car wash is, it's not an office job. He's not a CEO or he's not an accountant, with a corner office and a desk. If he's working at a car wash, he's basically the same as working at a convenience store, except it's own, and it's going to be owned by his father-in-law. So he doesn't have to worry about getting fired because, he's family with the owner. The only big difference is it's going to be Florida instead of Jersey, and Randall won't be there. So in terms of, you want to talk about a simple existence, it's not like Dante's really, he's not running off to Kathmandu or he's not, seizing some brass ring, going off on some crazy adventure. He's just moving down to Florida.
It's a good point, actually. It's one of the things where, is it really better? And Dante must think he must have thought it was better. But at the same time, if it was so better, if his life was so great, why didn't he hook up with Becky?
Yeah. Yep. That's excellent point. Yeah. I mean, and I was going to say, cause like, so I think it's obvious that Dante he's not crazy about the car wash thing. He's not crazy about Florida. I don't think it's as obvious that he is not that crazy about Emma. But what you just said, Blake, that if he was crazy about Emma, then why is he not just the one incident with Becky, but we see them. He's painting her toenails, like they're very close. They're very familiar. In a way that a man and a woman usually aren't if the man is crazy about a different woman. Yeah.
They definitely have a different level where it's not just a friendship. Like they're a lot closer than a male and a female friend really should be.
Yeah. Yeah. And not that men and women can't be friends, because I certainly think they can, but yeah, I think the message is pretty clear that there's something else going on that you normally wouldn't expect as you said, if Dante's so happily engaged, he wouldn't be getting so close to Becky.
True. Very, very true. Well, I almost had this is going to be off air. I had a bit of deja vu just now because the screen went black. And I thought we were having a repeat what happened with us last season. Yeah. But everything came back up. I'm so paranoid. Like, don't tell me it's a deja vu of last season again.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So, all right. Sorry, I got all scared there. Anyway, so Dante then actually fires back. Fine, the next friend whose life you ruin, which is that's a backhanded comment as you have one, could be a total free spirit.
Elias?
Okay. Well, Elias is there. At the end of the day, Elias is there. But right on the point. You think I want to start making friends of mine? Didn't he say the same thing to Elias earlier in the movie?
I think, yeah.
I kind of said that to Elias. It's like, you're going to be my only friend now that Dante's gone.
Yeah.
And who would want me as their friend? I hate everyone and everything seems stupid to me.
So Randall's a hipster?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Although, I mean, that's really that's an interesting. I was kind of shocked when the first time I saw this and when Randall says that line, because that level of self-awareness, I mean, even after this honesty bomb that he's telling us about his feelings for Dante and how upset he is that Dante's leaving and taking a bullet and all that other stuff. Even on top of all that, for that, that self-recognition that I don't think we've seen from Randall before. That, like, not only does he, he's not only being honest about Dante and that relationship, he can be honest about himself, which is really the hardest thing, to turn that critical eye inward. So Randall knows what he is. He's honest about it, and it is different as a, just as someone who's on the same side of 30 as these guys are, maybe even a little bit further to that side. But not that you can't make friends, but it's different. It is different making friends as an adult versus the people you came up with, that you've been through school with. You kind of. It is just different. And I can certainly sympathize with Randall's, like, yeah, man, you don't want to have to start from scratch at this point. I'm with him. I am with Randall there.
I can agree in that sentiment. I'm 36, straight up. And I have the hardest time making new friends because it's like, I don't want to start over. Like, you don't want to start over with people, but you have to do that. And like at my job, I can literally count in my hand how many friends I have and still have fingers left. Like, I just don't like making new friends if I don't have to. You know what I mean? I just don't want to. Because why? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Because it's like, especially at work.
Yeah.
Because who knows how long you're working with them.
It's weird because when you're at school and you're spending all this time with people in school, they become your friends, and that's fine. And I know making friends at work is different, because I never worried about getting fired from school.
Or your friend
I was never
fired.
worried that, like, if I did something risque or off color on the weekend, that it would, I didn't think it'd be a problem if that followed me to school on Monday, because my schoolmates were my friends from the weekend. Whereas if I work in an office, I'm not a CEO or an accountant, but I have a desk job. It's white collar. I try to present a professional, at least the appearance.